Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Sell More Homes in 30 Days or Less, with MAPS coach Carlos Gil. Please note that today's webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be sent out to all attendees and those that have missed the webinar. You can share this webinar recording with anyone in your market center that you think may find it of value. If you have any questions for Carlos, please type those into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar, and we will be going over those questions near the end of the session. Following the webinar, if you have any questions, you can always email us at fasttrack@kw.com. And that's all for me, so Carlos, you can go ahead and get started.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that introduction, Paige, and happy Friday to all of you that are tuning in from all over the map for today's webinar on how to sell more homes in 30 days or less. So I am your MAPS group coach, Carlos Gil, and I just want to let you know a little bit about myself before I jump right into why we're all here. So I've been a MAPS instructor since 2017. I've done about 6 social media for real estate programs with MAPS. So I've had an opportunity to work with hundreds of your peers over the last year, and the content that you're going to see in today's preview webinar is going to be very much what I've heard from your peers out there in the field in terms of what they're encountering and where they're looking for help with their social media. Now, in terms of my background, I have 10 plus years of corporate social media marketing experience. I've ran social media previously for large enterprise brands. Some of you might have heard of Winn-Dixie before, which is one of the largest supermarket chains in the Southeast. I actually started social media for Winn-Dixie and grew their social media presence from the ground up. I worked for Save-A-Lot, also spent time working at LinkedIn as their head of social media for their sales solutions business unit. And then most recently, I was head of global social for BMC Software. So I bring to you a good mix of both B2C and B2B experience when it comes to social media. I'm a true practitioner. You can see me speaking all over the world. You can go on YouTube, you can follow me, no pun intended, on social media. And what you'll see is, consistently I'm studying these channels. So what that means to all of you is that you have direct access to myself, and not just me, but you also have direct access to, just a wealth of knowledge. I grew up in and around the real estate industry. Both my parents are, to this day, still real estate brokers in South Florida. And I've seen real estate evolve throughout the years, literally as long as I can remember. I grew up in and around this business, and I saw my parents promote their listings back in the day and their open houses in the newspaper. And I've been able to help them over the years really transition and evolve more into the digital marketing presence, which brings us to why we're here, which is social media. It continues to evolve and change the way marketing is done, the way business is conducted, the way that you as an agent are finding things like referrals and leads and really growing your business. A lot of it is moving over from print over to digital, and more specifically to social. So we've created this program that's offered exclusively through MAPS. It's called the 30-Day Guide to Sell More Homes Online. And the next program begins next Monday. So today you're going to get a little preview of what this program entails. But we meet every Monday beginning next Monday at 11 a.m. Central. So this time for 4 Mondays consecutively, we'll have 4 weekly 1-hour webinars plus Q&A at the end. Each one of these webinars are recorded and available for playback at your convenience. So the great thing about this is that if you do miss one of these, Mondays, you can always go back, you can listen to it, you can have someone from your office listen to it and take notes for you. Speaking of notes, you get workbooks, you get templates, you get scripts. So like I mentioned before in my first slide, last year we did 6 of these. The program was much more of an entry level program. This year it's much more advanced, and not only do we go deep into the various social networks, but we go deep into email marketing, we go deep into Facebook ads, we go deep into really building out your CRM, and also how to measure and monitor for optimal performance. There is a one-time investment, just want to throw it out there, of $197. So I can assure you that if you do your due diligence, there is probably no other program out there that's going to give you such a comprehensive overview and really deep dive teach you how to use social media effectively as an agent. And if you want to go ahead and sign up today, which, like I said, we start the program next Monday, April 9th, you see the link right there in front of you. Now, the course objective, it's simple. It's to help agents grow their leads pipeline and close more homes. I recognize that you are in business to sell more homes and to drive more closings at the end of the day, whether you're a buyer's agent or whether you are a listing agent. And how are we going to go ahead and get you to get more buyers and sellers in your pipeline? It's going to be through a combination of things. It's going to be obviously online marketing focused, but it's going to be in helping you build your brand, helping you grow your email list, helping you build more effective relationships on social media. And this is the process known as social selling. Now, here's what I can assure you that you are going to learn over the next 4 weeks. And you are going to go ahead and, like I said before, get a little glimpse of this here today. So bear with me. First of all, it's going to be building a winning personal brand and how to be found online by prospective clients. Let's face it, as an agent out there that is actively in your community, pounding the pavement, looking to get leads, looking to get your name out there, social media really helps speed this up by building a personal brand, which, in short means who knows you out there, who out there can advocate for you. The next is creating engaging content that converts to qualified leads. Content is the name of the game in everything that you do on social media. Content's what people see, it's what they feel, it's what they react to, it's what they comment on. And then there's also what you might have heard, before, known as algorithms. The way these social networks essentially operate is the more engagement that you get on your content, the higher your content's going to rank in the algorithm on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram. So oftentimes, I think a big frustration that agents get is they post content on their Facebook page and they get minimal engagement. They might get 1 or 2 likes, and what happens is because that post didn't get a lot of traction within the first few hours I was on Facebook, automatically Facebook starts to weed their content out. And then you have to post again, and then you have to post repetitively until your content starts to catch on. And one of the things I like to share with agents is how to distribute your content on multiple channels so you have more of an omni-channel presence as opposed to just focusing on Facebook. And I mentioned this phrase before, but I'm going to mention it again: social selling. Social selling is essentially using social media to identify and engage your target audience. Who are your customers? Think about that for a moment. Who is it that you're trying to reach using social media? Are they buyers? Are they sellers? Are they investors? Are they younger demographic? Are they an older demographic? Are they people that will be using Facebook? Do they use Instagram? However you answer that question, the key is to go after your audience on the platforms where they have a presence and then engage them accordingly through direct conversation, through content, by even sharing their content as well. If you do this consistently, and the key here is building relationships, if you do this consecutively, day in and day out, I guarantee you that over time, you are going to build not only a great personal brand, but you're also going to be the go-to real estate agent that people think about in their city or town. I can tell you right now, I live in Los Angeles, and if someone to me says, hey, I'm looking to buy a home or rent a home, or I'm looking to invest, I immediately, off the top of my head, know of 2 to 3 agents that without hesitation, if I see a Facebook post, if someone says, hey, I'm looking to buy in LA, I'm going to go ahead and tag those agents. Or if I see them at a networking mixer, I'm going to immediately say, hey, you know what, you should contact my agent because I dealt with him or her in my last closing or transaction. And, there's someone that's top notch. So that's when you start thinking about personal branding, that's where you want to get to. You want to be that agent that is top of mind when people think about real estate. And then another tactic, if you will, is how to use social media to promote your listings using things like Facebook Live, how to use Facebook ads. So one of the things I hear often from agents is, Carlos, I want to use Facebook ads because I know it's really important and Facebook gives me this access to reach all these people, but how much do I invest? How do I create like the perfect ad? How do I monitor if these ads are effective? And the good news is for all of you, at the end of today's webinar, I'm going to give you a cheat sheet that you can go ahead and take with you. But in the 4-week course, we do go very deep into detail in terms of how to use Facebook ads. Now, what you see in front of you are the 4 quadrants of a social media strategy. And each week, in each lesson, we will cover one of these 4 quadrants. This right here is the formula that I've broken down in terms of the key buckets that you should be focusing on in order to go ahead and get the most benefits as a real estate agent on social media. And it starts with your personal brand. I've already mentioned that in the first few minutes. Personal branding goes without saying, is the essence of everything that we do here. And the reason why is because people relate to people. I'm just going to use, the Los Angeles market where I live as an example. Your average home here ranges between $1 million to $1.2 million, and that's for a starter home. So the reality is, if I'm going to make an investment of that size and buy a property with you, I have to like you, I have to trust you. How does trust really originate? How does likability originate? It starts online with what you see a person posting. Do they look friendly? Are they engaging with others? What do they do for fun? These are all things that go into building your personal brand. Next is content marketing. So what are you posting? You can have the best looking LinkedIn profile, you can have the best looking Facebook page, the best looking photos, but if you're not consistently posting content that's keeping your audience engaged, and there's many ways to create content. I'll give you a couple of examples. One is listings, the other is thought leadership, but also think about, what does your audience want to see? I can tell you that if I'm not personally in the market to buy, sell, or invest in a piece of property, I don't want to see listings from you all day. So what are you going to do to keep me engaged Monday through Sunday, so I don't feel bored just seeing houses all the time? And some of the most effective agents that I see on social media aren't just posting listings. They're posting content of what they do for fun. They're posting content in their community. And the third is engaging consistently. So, let's kind of back up for a step. You have a good personal brand, you're posting, content that's getting traction, but are you proactively finding people that want information about real estate in your community? This is like the missing link where a lot of people fall short on social media, because they do 1 and 2 really well, but when it comes to 3, they say, I don't have time to engage. So they completely disregard this. Well, guess what? If you've ever been on Twitter before, think of Twitter like a search engine. Think of Twitter just like Google, because they have a search engine component. You can literally type into Twitter right now, real estate and the city where you do business, or you can put in a search phrase like I'm moving to with your city in there. And you can see real people that are talking about real topics related to your industry. And guess what? Like, social media is the wild, wild west. You can engage with those people directly. You can send them a tweet. You can send them a private message. If they have a website, tied to their Twitter profile, you can send them a message there privately. Like, there's many ways that you can jump in and start having conversations. I'll share an example with you. Many years ago, when I was looking to move out to San Francisco for a job transfer, I'd never been to San Francisco before outside of a few conferences. So I didn't know where the trendy happening, neighborhoods were. I didn't know where the good restaurants were. I've got kids myself. I didn't know which were the best areas for families. These are all things that were an unknown to me. So what did I do? I went on Twitter and I just said, hey, if you have any recommendations, I didn't address this to a real estate agent. I just said in general, if anyone out there has any recommendations on where are the best areas for families, where are the better elementary schools, in San Francisco, let me know. And I was really surprised to see 8 real estate agents reaching out to me, suggesting places to live, places to go, offering their services to me, and it wasn't a hard sell. It was me literally asking for help. So this is where engaging consistently, doing this on a daily basis, really will set you apart from an average agent to an over-the-top amazing agent. And then the last piece is measurement. And I can tell you from my many years of working on the corporate side of social media, whether you're a brand or you're an individual or you're a small business, most people miss the mark when it comes to measurement, because they're just pushing out content and they're not able to, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, measure their outcome of their activity. They're just posting content on Facebook. They're posting links out all over the map, and they don't have tracking codes. They're not able to actually articulate, for all the activity that you did on social, what did that result in? So in a long roundabout way, each lesson is going to touch each one of these categories. And they're all equally important because you really can't have a well-rounded strategy without really hitting the mark on each one of these 4 quadrants. Now, building a social media strategy is not difficult, but there is a science to this. And the first is identifying who are you trying to reach. So is your target audience buyers, sellers, renters, or investors? And then what platforms are your target demographic on? So for example, Snapchat tends to skew for a much younger audience. Instagram even over indexes, with, a younger millennial demographic than Facebook or LinkedIn. And I'd say for someone out there that's trying to find investors, if you're trying to grow your circles of influence and network with title companies and not fellow realtors, but mortgage loan officers, insurance agents, like these are all people, the 3 that I just mentioned, title companies, insurance agents, and mortgage loan officers, these are all people that could potentially send you business. Chances are you're not going to find them just hanging out on Facebook or on Twitter. You've got to go LinkedIn to find these individuals. So like that right there would differentiate where you go and how you use social media and for what purpose. Facebook, you can't really have much of a presence on social media nowadays, it seems like, without having a Facebook page. And in just a moment, I'm going to share with you the differences between a Facebook page and a Facebook profile. And then how are you going to reach this audience? Are you going to reach them with just organic Facebook posts? Are you going to reach them with paid ads? What I love personally about Facebook ads is that you can have a presence on social media with having very little presence organically on social media. Right now, if you said to yourself, I'm going to spend $1,000 a month and just run Facebook ads, you don't have to ever post anything on Twitter. You don't ever have to post anything on Instagram. You could literally just run an entire business with running Facebook ads, because Facebook is perhaps one of the largest digital marketing platforms on the internet today. And Facebook gives you access to data that you can leverage that data to run ads to get your content in front of potential buyers or sellers. And then last, what are you going to put in front of this audience? Are you going to put videos, photos, blog posts, local news, home buying tips? I often find that the agents that I like to follow online are the ones that are talking less about what they do for a living, and they're talking more about their community that they serve. Let's think about this. If you are trying to grow your presence within your community, then you need to post content in regards to that community. I often say this to agents: you are the product. Your listing that you have is really not the product, because that listing is a short-term asset for you, at least. Hopefully when you get a listing, that listing sells in 1 to 2 weeks. But you and the relationship that you build with your clientele, that's something that carries on well beyond the closing. Now, this right here is very much a cheat sheet for all things personal brand. So please make sure that you go ahead and take some notes here. I mentioned this at the very top. I'm going to reinforce again. The reason why personal branding matters is because people do business with who they feel comfortable doing business with. Whether it's real estate or if it's insurance, whatever it is that someone is buying, if it's very near and dear to them and it's personal, in this case, we're talking about a real estate transaction, which on average involves hundreds of thousands of dollars being exchanged. In order for someone to get to the point where they're opening up to you on things like their credit, they're opening up to you on their family history, they're making an investment that potentially is going to impact the rest of their life and everything that they do, that is something that they have to feel very comfortable in order to transact and do business with you. So your personal brand should really have a few key components. A, you should be relatable, meaning you should be creating content that really positions you as a human being more so than a real estate agent. And I know that sounds very elementary, but it's the truth. So many agents out there are just talking about real estate, but they're not really showing who they are as a person. Now, some effective personal branding tips that you see there in front of you is, first of all, professional headshot. I can't tell you how many times I see, whether it's real estate agents or just people in general on social media, that have really, really bad headshots on a professional platform like LinkedIn, or even on their business page, they have a really bad headshot. So creating a headshot nowadays is not difficult. Most iPhones, most Androids have high definition cameras on them. Have someone snap a nice photo of you up against a blank wall or blank surface. Smile. Really go ahead and show that you're likable and you're approachable. The next is more related to SEO. If you really want others to be able to find you, you need to have key words and key phrases in your bios on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, especially. You need to have keywords like Keller Williams, real estate, realtor, real estate agent, the cities where you do business. So if you're a real estate agent here in LA, you would have real estate agent, Los Angeles, California. You'd even mix it up like, realtor in business since 2006. Different keywords that when people are running searches for a real estate agent, typically where people are going to look for. They're going to type in the city where they live, or the city that they're looking to buy or sell or invest in a home, and they're going to type in real estate. So make sure that your profiles are optimized with these keywords so you can be found. Next, staying on LinkedIn is having a polished LinkedIn profile. So what does having a polished LinkedIn profile means? One, I touched on having a professional headshot before, but also having your headline and summary filled out. So if you look at your LinkedIn profile right now, you'll see your name, then you'll see underneath it a little line of text. Make sure that that line of text, which is your short form summary, is filled out with, once again, keywords that best describe who you are and make you searchable. Also have your summary filled out, which describes who you are as a professional. And then also make sure you're posting at least 1 to 2 times per day per channel in order to stay relevant and top of mind. I can't stress this enough. Social media operates in real time. And what I mean by that is you're only as good as your last post. And at the same time, you're also competing against millions of other people that are also trying to get attention online. So the name of the game here is not to necessarily post just anything for the sake of getting content, but to a certain degree, you have to be ridiculously obnoxious in people's faces in order for them to see your face and your name enough times it starts to register. And they say, oh yeah, this is, John or Jill. They are the local real estate agent in my community. And then leverage Twitter to make sure you're having conversations. I said this before, conversations that aren't necessarily related to real estate, but they're also centric to your city or town. And then also be sure you're leveraging Instagram to engage in specific hashtags as well. And I'll get to that, I believe, on the next slide or two. But let's touch on what are the key differences between Facebook pages and profiles, because one of the questions that I get asked a lot by agents is, Carlos, should I have a profile or should I have a page? And my answer is you need both. And the reason why is because the audience that's going to engage with you and follow you on each one of these mediums are different. And your page is typically followed by clients. These clients are past and present, they're colleagues, they're prospects. Within your business page, you can do things like run ads. You can receive reviews. You can also post business contact information. And I often say, keep your business page related to what you do for a living and also content that's local to your community. But then your profile, the makeup of who you're friends with on Facebook aren't just business colleagues and associates, but it's close friends, it's family, it's neighbors. These are people that don't want to hear about what you do for a living 24/7. But these are also people that you're connected to that know what you do for a living. So I think it's perfectly okay for maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. If there's something really cool happening, related to your business, if there's a story that you want to share related to a client that you help sell a home for, share that on your profile. But really try to keep church and state separate in this regard. Don't just share everything from your business page over to your profile for the sake of getting more eyeballs. Now, the same way I have the 4 quadrants of social media, I have now a breakdown that you see in front of you of best performing content on social media. The ROI of each medium and each piece of content, how you measure that is going to be separate. They're not mutually exclusive to one another. So photos, videos, audio, known as podcasts, and ads, all of these are presented differently. The way that you're going to measure them are different. For example, on an ad, the way I would look at ad measurement is pure conversions, which lead to, in this case, showings, which those showings then turn into a sale. So let's just say, hypothetically, you spend $5,000 in Facebook ads, and out of that $5,000, you get 10 showings, and only one of those showings turns into a new client, but yet you make a $20,000 commission off that one new client, then guess what? That $5,000 spend definitely paid for itself, and you should probably double down and do more of it. The way that you would measure video is more straight, video views, which is more of brand awareness. Same thing with photos. You'd measure photos through pure engagement. And then audio, I talk about this in the 4-week course, but podcasting is something that hasn't really taken off yet in the real estate industry, which I think creates a great opportunity for all of you. If you go on iTunes right now and you type real estate, there are a few podcasts out there that are decent that talk about real estate investing. They talk about, tips for buying real estate. So, I think that every realtor out there has an opportunity to really disrupt podcasting. It's easy to podcast nowadays. There's an app known as Anchor that you can literally create a podcast from your iPhone. There's different platforms out there like SoundCloud. I mentioned iTunes before, but think about creating a local podcast for your community. It doesn't even need to be about real estate. It can just be about your community, hosted by Dave, the Indianapolis real estate agent, for example. It's that simple to create a podcast that now is going to get you more visibility, even though it's audio, but it's going to get you known more in your community. And then that gives you an opportunity to promote your business. Now, moving forward, what do clients want to see? First of all, yes, clients do want to see new home listings, because if someone is in the market for a home, then you're making it easy for them by showing off inventory. But what clients also really want to see is industry insights. Why are certain months out of the year better to list your home versus buying your home in certain months of the year? What are the best cities to live? I know, myself, I constantly feel inclined to read like the Forbes, best cities for young professionals to live list. Because as a young millennial professional, I want to be able to know where, I can get the most bang for my buck, potentially. But the same also holds true for other demographics, like my mom and dad, which are nearing retirement age. They would probably be inclined to see what are the best cities in the United States for retirees and so forth. So sharing industry insights is great. Thought leadership. So why now is the best time to buy or sell or invest? Any terms of, thought leadership that you can find. Local happenings in your community. So if there's grand openings, if there's concerts, there's festivals, civic events, local schools opening, things like this. Anything that's happening in your community you want to share, because then once again, that gets you kind of into the conversation of what's happening in your city or town. And then DIYs. I love when I see agents posting DIYs, because again, like, you are in the business of real estate. So, home improvements, money saving tips, things like this add value in general to the ecosystem. Now, I mentioned before Instagram. In the 4-week course, I go deep into how to use Instagram for real estate. I have a very, brief example here on the screen in front of you. On the left-hand side, you see a home, perfect end to a wonderful week, seeing this wonderful couple close on their new gorgeous home. I love when agents celebrate their wins by spotlighting their customers, because it shows success and it shows that they helped someone achieve the dream of home ownership. Now, look at the hashtags that they put there. They put hashtag Milwaukee, hashtag Keller Williams Realty, hashtag sold. The way Instagram works is you can use up to 30 hashtags in your content. Then those hashtags act as categories where people can now see content based on the hashtag that you use. And I want to spotlight here Keller Williams Realty, because when you look up hashtag Keller Williams Realty, you have over 102,000 posts on Instagram that have hashtag Keller Williams Realty. It's a mix of agents, it's a mix of content, of listings. So keep that in mind that in your organization, you already have agents that are highly active with using Instagram. Now, moving forward, before we wrap up and we open up for Q&A, I have 2 more slides, and each of them act very much as a guide to help you. The first is tips for text posts. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you see in front of you a couple of templated posts that you can immediately use. Be sure to use them. In the course, if you sign up, you're going to get a guide which contains top 10 posts for real estate agents. These are posts that you can immediately use on any social network. And I encourage you to take this content, go on a site like Canva or use Adobe Spark Posts, which is an app, and create images with these posts in order to go ahead and help your content stand out and also potentially get more engagement. And then Facebook ads. So Facebook ads is a topic that I get asked about a whole heck of a lot. In lesson 3, we do a deep dive going into Facebook ads. My advice for anyone out there that doesn't have a tremendously large budget is to start with at least $300. If you go every single day in a month and do a post, and you put at least $10 behind a boosted post, over the course of the month, you're going to spend $300. It's better to spend at least $10 per post than spend zero. The key, though, is to go ahead and make sure that you are running custom audiences. So you want to ensure that anytime that you're running a post on Facebook that is sponsored or boosted, that you are getting that content in front of the right audience. So you see the last bullet point at the bottom of the screen there, create interest-based custom audience segments. What that really means in short is make sure that you go into Facebook Ads Manager and you create audiences based on the city that you do business in, the age range of who's your target customer, how old are they, what age range do they fall in, and where are they interested in. What's really neat about Facebook, for as much criticism as they get, especially lately in the news, is that most businesses today have what's known as tracking pixels on their website. So if you visit, let's say, realtor.com, and realtor.com has tracking pixels, now Facebook knows that you went to realtor.com, and Facebook knows that you've been searching for homes. So on interests, when you're creating a custom audience and you type in people are interested in home buying, Facebook knows that its users, and it knows specifically which one of its users have been looking at homes or are most interested in home buying. Now, before I open it up for Q&A, I just want to drop a couple of announcements. First, we do have a Facebook group, which is a social media for real estate agents mastermind. I'd encourage you to join. You can go to facebook.com/groups/social media realtors. By joining the group, you get exclusive access to myself. It's a really active group. I share a lot of content in there to help realtors out. It's also really great for networking. Make sure that you update your LinkedIn profile today as soon as we're done with a professional headshot, cover photo, update your summary, your headline. Also invite me to connect. And then pick one social network, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Connect with me on there, and I'd love to do just a complimentary review for you and give you some tips on how you can best stand out. And then within the Facebook ads tool, like I said before, start creating some custom audiences. And whether you do the program or not over the next 4 weeks, if there's something that you should absolutely walk away with, it's that Facebook is not going away, and Facebook ads here in the foreseeable future will be your best friend, digitally speaking, in order to go ahead and get you more business. Now, I want to go ahead and plug the program one last time before we open it up for Q&A. I know that we have a few questions out there, and I will get to them. Starting next Monday on April 9th at 11 a.m. begins the next program with MAPS, which is called the 30-Day Guide to Sell More Homes Online. Once again, it is a 4-week program in which we'll go ahead and have an hour and a half every week. So there are 4 one-hour webinars plus Q&A. Typically, the Q&A lasts about 30 minutes. So it's about an hour worth of content every week, and then 30 minutes Q&A. All webinars, for your convenience, are recorded and available for playback. So if you happen to miss a week, if you're out in the field, you can go ahead and listen to those afterward. In addition to the webinars, you will get access to download several guides, scripts, and templates that are going to make your jobs a whole lot easier. And then once again, there is a one-time investment of $197, and I encourage you to sign up today because space is limited. So make sure that at the end of today's presentation, you go to that link that you see there in front of you and sign up. So with that, I want to thank you for your time today, and I want to open it up to any questions that you might have. All right, there's a question here, which comes from Christopher. I have a custom URL that forwards to my real estate website. Does that hurt me in terms of analytics and analyzing traffic from social media? It does not, Christopher, provided that you are able to measure the metrics such as impressions and clicks. I use Bitly, and I have a premium Bitly account. So with Bitly, I am able to log onto their dashboard, and I'm able to see, things like, impressions and click-throughs. But then beyond that, you also want to be able to measure the impact. So, I would definitely tap into Google Analytics, create what's known as UTM codes through Google. That way, when someone visits your website, if they also converted into a lead. Robert says, good info. Thank you so much, Robert. What other questions might you guys and girls have? I know there was a lot that I went through in a period of 30 minutes. Did all of you get good value from this? Can you go back to the second to last slide? All right, I think it was this. Is this the slide, Jackie? Nope. Robert, look up Google UTM tracking codes. All right, and I will keep the window open for another minute or so. So if you have any questions, feel free to get those in. Okay, Facebook cheat sheet. This is what I think Jackie was wanting to see. Great information, short time. Thank you, Renda. Do you show how to set up analytics to help keep track of performance? Yes, Hassan, I do. Quick tips on what to include in our LinkedIn summary. Yeah, like I said before, on your LinkedIn, make sure that you have keywords on there like realtor, real estate agent. Like it should really lead in with real estate agent for Keller Williams, Los Angeles, for example. You want to have keywords like real estate agent. You want to have the city where you do business. Obviously, you want to have Keller Williams as well. Donna wants to know, she says, great talk today. Do I need to be really techie? And the answer is no. The reality is that I recognize that most of you, if not all of you, are focused 110% on your real estate business. And social media is something that tends to be, for most people who don't work in marketing, an afterthought. So I make it super easy for you. Here's my promise to you, Donna. And others listening, if you are just getting started with social media, this course is going to make it really easy for you. It's going to break it down for you. And literally, I'm going to walk you through step by step what it is that you have to do. If you are the most advanced user out there and absolutely killing it in your office, and a big part of that is because of social media, you're still going to learn from this course. I guarantee you that. So, to answer your question once again, Don, no, you don't have to be really techie. Is this webinar sent to us? I believe, Jackie, that this is recorded and is sent to you afterward. All right, well, I want to go ahead and leave you guys. If you want to do a screenshot of this slide right here in front of you, make sure you screenshot this. Go today and sign up, mapscoaching.kw.com/social-media-real-estate-agents sign up for the course. Once again, join the group also on Facebook. You have direct access to me there. And I really hope that you guys sign up and we get to spend the next 4 weeks together. So thank you so much for your time once again today. I hope you guys have a great weekend and all the best. Take care.